Hi everyone, welcome to the fourth devlog for the farming adventure RPG that I'm developing called Sundermead. The main feature for this devlog is character customization. I'd had this feature planned since the beginning of the project but wasn't really sure how best to approach it. So before I go into how it works, I'll quickly show you what it looks like and the current feature set. So here's the character creator, so obviously you can enter your name, and this is what NPCs will refer to you as and what will show above your head to other players. You can change your sex, which makes you a bit more slender and changes your mouth. You can change your eyes, just a few different variations. I'll add more in the future. You can give yourself a little moustache, or a longer one, or a beard. You can change your hair, so there's a little bowl cut, a Norman cut, so you can't see it here, but it's sort of cut down the back, a pulled back ponytail, and a fringe ponytail. So these last two were really meant for the female type, but you can do whatever you want really. So you can obviously change your skin color, make yourself kind of very brown. You can change your hair color, so I can go bright red if I want. You can also change your eye color. It could be some sort of demonic thing. There you go, straight out of hell. A lot of the UI for this feature was added via an extension that adds loads of helpful little controls. So the stepper and the color picker are both from that package. I'll leave a link to it in the description. Whenever any of these values, whether it be from the stepper or the color picker, is changed, an event is raised and sent to my character customization script stored on each player, which allows any updates to appear on the character instantly. There's also my character shader. I actually wrote this a few months ago in anticipation for this feature, but then got sidetracked by the tasks. This shader was written using Shader Graph and allows you to set the skin color of a character, their eyes, mouth, and base layer clothes all via different textures. The clothes textures all have the full material set, so the albedo, smoothness, metallic, and normal maps. This is done using texture arrays, where the first element is the albedo, the second is the metal and specular, and the third is the normal. This way I can bunch them all together and just drag in the texture array into the shader instead of having to manually place every single texture as a parameter. The eye coloring is done using RGB masking, where each part of the eye is a different channel in the image. So the whites is the red channel, the iris is the blue channel, and the pupil is the green channel. The hair and beards were a little more complicated because I wanted them to have a good amount of detail, so that meant they had to be 3D models, and so I couldn't use my character shader for them. The hair for Sundermead is inspired by a game called Hightail, as well as genuine Anglo-Saxon and Northern Germanic hairstyles from the time period. So here's my first attempt at making some hair. I don't think it has any redeeming qualities, to be honest. So now that I had my hair models, I needed to rig them up and link them to the character when they get spawned in. Luckily, this is pretty easy and is well documented, as tons of people have asked about this online already. So here's my rig helper class. You can see I have a function that takes in two skin mesh renderers, one for the input and one for the target. So all this function does is get all the bones from the input and maps them to the bones on the output, or the target. So that way the input would be, say, a piece of hair, and the target would be the character. It just maps them together and has them work. Yeah, feel free to copy this code, it's everywhere, it's nothing special. Luckily, this rig combining system can actually be used for clothes as well, and that's exactly what I did next. You can see here on this character there's a helmet, a chest piece, and a leather skirt. They're all done using this same system. And that takes me exactly into what I did next. Created a new enemy type called the Wight. A Wight is an undead creature from English folklore. My design for it was inspired by the Draugr in Skyrim. This is because a Wight is, for all intents and purposes, the English version of a Norse Draugr. The Wight comes in 3 different difficulties: easy, medium, and hard. Easy has minimal armor and a one-handed seaxe. Medium has a two-handed seaxe and slightly more armor. And the hard Wight has a full set of armor and a long-handed seaxe. Like with the goblins, the Wights will only spawn in the mines, and the further down you go, the more difficult they'll become. The armor set for the Wights is made up of a chainmail helmet, an iron chest plate, and a leather skirt. The first 2 items I might consider making available to players, but for now I think I'll leave it as they are. The programming footage that you've been seeing in the background so far hasn't actually been to do with anything that I've been talking about. It's actually of me refactoring the questline for Farman, who's the shipwright I introduced in the last video. I refactored it because it was all done in one file and all interactions with him would go straight to the dialogue, but since then I've decided that any interaction with any NPC must first go through a dialogue option chosen by a player, even if there is only one option displayed. I decided this refactor wasn't enough though, so I completely rewrote the quest loading. How it worked before was it would get the C# type and just instantiate a game object with that component on it. But now I have a quest database, so any quests that have any dependencies are stored as prefabs and then loaded at runtime. The reason for this was because I found it quite difficult to keep track of what was going on in the quest while I was rewriting them. So I decided to make a GUI node editor instead. I did this using Xnode, which is a free open source node editor library. I considered using Unity's built-in node editor that they use to create shader graph, but it seemed a pain to set up. Like with the UI extensions, a link to Xnode will be in the description. So here's a good example of my node editor. You see we have the dialog start, which moves on to the next one, and I can add and remove options from the actor's default dialog tree. From there, it moves on to the actor speaking, and then we go on to options. So we have a couple of options here. He told me you could help me, and can you help me get one? And then obviously if you click that, it goes through this set, and if you click the bottom one, it goes through this set. And then eventually they'll converge here, continue on, you unlock a recipe, then something displays in the chat to say Dropner has given you the recipe to craft an anvil. Speak some more, activate an event to continue on with the quest, and then remove that option from the beginning from the tree. So I've got tons of nodes and there's quite a lot I can do. I will expand this as well a lot in the future, but this is how it is now and it's very good, I think, very helpful. I've also added a new NPC called Chada, which is Old English for Chad, hence the last cringeworthy video that I made. So he's Sundermead's blacksmith, so you can see he's got the leather apron. So he'll be able to forge new weapons for the player and upgrade existing weapons too. And I've written a quest line for him too that I'll just show off in a second. But before that, if you're enjoying this video so far, please leave a like and leave a comment for any features or characters you think would be a good addition. I've also got a Steam page for Sundermead, so if you're interested in the project, go and wishlist it there. I also did a lot of work optimizing the game, so if any of you are using URP for your project, I would recommend disabling the decal feature because I found it ate up my frame rate a lot. And that's about it. I'm considering doing either some dev live streams or even just streaming some gameplay of Sundermead, if any of you are interested in that. I could also make a work in progress Let's Play series too. Let me know in the comments what you're most interested in. Finally, I've got a Discord channel for Sundermead that you can join and be kept up to date with the latest leaks and insights. The link to that can be found in the description. Anyway, thank you very much for watching and I hope you have a good one.